question is, how do we evaluate projects? And the second one is, how do we finance projects of transition towards climate neutrality? So, why this is important? Because the evaluation of the renovation of this construction of buildings, we see them as a really complex investment. So, I think one of the most complex that there are, because people are living actually in buildings, working in buildings. So there's also the trend that new EPBD especially is going into deeper and deeper energy renovation requirements, so they're getting more ambitious. We have more additional climate adaptation measures that we need to implement, also significant reinforcements, I think quite relevant for most of the Europe. And what is happening is that all these requirements are actually getting these overall costs of investment higher and higher. So the result of that is, of course, that we have financial availability of building becoming lower and lower. So the investments cannot be really fully paid from the energy and operational cost savings. This is, I think, the case in some countries. I would say also in Croatia, we have limitation of energy prices, but the government intervenes because of the social policy. And the result is that usually we don't have the commercial business case unless we're using a large share of national EU grants, which we're trying to avoid. So, what should we do then? I mean, seriously. So, the reason that we're having this project is that we're trying to kind of change the mindset. So, going from solely looking at the financial aspects of the project, going to the socio-economical effects, try to monetize these effects, which are currently not being. So, the issue is, of course, banks and some external investors not looking at this direction because it's a complex evaluation methodology. We don't have tools, unreliable data, so lots of, I would say, obstacles to go into the economic evaluations. However, I think that if grants and public money is invested here, I think the public really deserves to see what are the effects to the community. So, when you look at these graphics, I mean, unfortunately, it's a bit too small for you to see. There's so many socioeconomic effects that we can and should monetize, especially in the building sector. So, the standard set of methodologies that we have for everybody using financial analysis is required by investors, financial institutions, we have different KPIs, but we're looking only from the investors' owners' perspective. So, usually favor just the options that have a short-term financial return. Economic analysis is something different. So we're looking at societal perspective, and this is the assessment that is usually required from the Ministry of Finance. It has methodologies that they require, especially in Croatia, but also the EU institutions are looking at the effect for the society. KPIs are similar, but are of course different. We're just looking at the economic net present value for economic return on investment, so it's a different perspective. So, in the building sector, I mean, what should we take into account when we talk about economic analysis? I mean, the EU says that we should aim to include at least two groups of benefits. First are energy-related savings, including externalities. So these are the air pollution that we have in the enhanced security supply, quite relevant at the moment. Also, I think transportation costs, things that that should be definitely included as externalities. However, we also have the impacts and also the use of the value of buildings, which is enabled by the project and renovation. We can talk about the extension of the economic life of the building in the elements that we are renovating. We can also talk about the reduction of the building maintenance costs, something that we've forgotten. And of course, these two categories, which I think are quite important, increase thermal comfort for the users, but also increase the property value. So we sometimes forget that we need to also calculate these. So that's not the only thing that we need to do here, because we also have climate adaptation measures, sometimes significantly reinforced if we're doing that, which have not been addressed usually in any economic analysis. So, what have we decided to do in the Mestri-Ce? So we decided to make a tool which is going to do all these things, at least do the try. So we tried to simplify CBA analysis, use the principle of CBA analysis to capture these harmonize, the project review taxonomy, and also look at the post-investment performance that we're going to monitor. So, what we did here is that we looked at the EU methodology that is available, but also we also looked at the other EU project to see who applies what and what could be applied on our project, on our field. We also find local publications from the EIB, of course, and the DG Find. So just to go into what our toolbox is currently looks like. So the basic features of the toolbox. You have the instructions. This is like the most important thing if you're developing a tool. People need to realize what it's all about, what's the process, and how you should use it. We did this. I think it's quite easy. Then we have definitions, like a glossary, that some people who are not hardcore economists do not know, so it's good to have that. And also to know the methodology and the assumptions that are already by default there in the evaluation. So, this is like how the tool looks like. So you start basically entering some basic things about the project. You can also have here drop-down menus where you decide how long do you want to evaluate the project. Is it 10 years, 20, 30, you can choose whatever. And also you can upfront choose how you're going to finance. Because depending on finance, you're going to get different financial pictures and also economic analysis. So you can choose between from your own funds, to grants, to green loans, capital rebate loans, like financial instruments, but also like loans and EPC. So you can test exactly how your project performs financially. Okay, so it all depends on the inputs. You have the inputs. If you have, like in Mestri, you have really good data on the buildings, you're going to put really good data here for capital expenditures, operational expenditures, all information that you can provide probably here. So the more you put in, the more precise outputs you get. Then you can see transparently how the financial economic analysis is calculated. So this is not a mystery hidden sheet somewhere in the tool. You can see everything, how it's calculated. And in the end, what you get the report, you get the summary, like a one-pager. I think it's good, like a one-pager that can show also the financial institutions and also it can show people who are developing the project. So you have the graphic part comparing how much it will cost you to finance the investment through grants, own funds, and of course other types of financial institutions. And also you have KPIs, net present value, and also sensitivity that you can really set preference. So why did our results of the CBA and our evaluation toolbox actually matter? Is I think because sources of financing should be adjusted to the results of the financial economic analysis. I think from the EIB, maybe I took some of these graphic elements, but if the project is really performing well financially, it doesn't need grants. It can go to commercial instruments. If it doesn't perform that well, but has huge economic effects, then it actually needs grants. And there's this middle, this blue part that we see as the application of financial instruments, usually capital rebate loans, which are used mostly for energy projects. So it doesn't need that much grants, but it needs some. So what we did also in the Mestri-Ce project. So we tested this tool on a lot of buildings, 55 buildings, and some were renovations, some were construction scenarios. And what we did is that we produced a pipeline of projects which are basically portfolio buildings which could be shown to the investors and also which have undergone